Hi, I'm Grant.
And I'm Kathy. Welcome back to our Change How You Think weekly video podcast.
If you'd like to hear from us every week, then subscribe to our video by clicking on the weekly video tab at the top of this page. Fill in the subscription form and you'll get our free ebook, Healthy Moods.
Now, Satan wants to attack your mind because that's the easiest way to influence your behavior. He particularly likes to target those with mental health problems like depression and anxiety.
We recently discussed this important issue in our Free Your Mind online video program. We thought you'd find the topic helpful, so we're giving you an excerpt of that lesson from the course, Your Moods Matter. And we'll talk to you after the video.
Welcome to Lesson 6 in Your Moods Matter. In the last lesson, you learned that Christians carry too much shame and condemnation when they have a mood disorder. These conditions have spiritual symptoms which make Christians think the treatment is only spiritual.
In this lesson, we're going to discuss how Satan attacks your mind and how he specifically targets those with mental health problems.
We were raised in the church, so we didn't know anything about demons. All we knew was that they were somewhere overseas and only missionaries had to deal with them. We were also told that if you don't mess with them, they won't mess with you. That was not very helpful information at all.
My very first encounter with the demonic was many years ago when I was interviewing a new patient in my office who was seeing me for depression. I had only gone a few minutes into the session when she said she was having trouble hearing my questions. When I asked why, she said there were 3 people in her head talking to her constantly and it was very distracting. Well, this was really confusing to me. I thought it could be a psychotic symptom of schizophrenia. If you recall from a previous lesson, you learned that in psychosis you could hear voices in your head. But she didn't have any of the other symptoms of schizophrenia, so I was stumped. I stalled for time and took a moment to write in her chart, and while I was doing that, I said to God silently, I don't know what's going on, but if she's hearing from demons, can you shut them up or I'll never get through this interview? When I looked up from my chart, she was staring at me wide-eyed. She said, what did you just do? Well, I replied that I'd just been making a note in her chart. She answered, no, you did something else. I said, why do you think that? Because they stopped talking to me. They haven't stopped talking for 12 years. What did you do? Then she said the most surprising thing. They're afraid of you. I was stunned. They're afraid of me? And I clearly didn't know what I was doing. It was such a wake-up call for me that Satan is alive and actively attacking, and that an inexperienced, clueless Christian like me has more spiritual authority than he thinks. I had several more experiences with demons that I'll tell you about later in the Free Your Mind course when we do a course specifically on spiritual authority and warfare.
Through our experiences with demons, we learned that the enemy's #1 desire is to influence your thoughts so he can influence your behavior. He does that by dropping thoughts into our minds and hoping that we will accept them as our own and decide that they are true.
He does this to everyone. That's why we often get disturbing, upsetting thoughts in our minds that we have to push out. It's not possession, this is demonic harassment. Satan particularly likes to attack the minds of people with mental health problems, and here's why.
With any mental illness like depression or anxiety, you lose thought control and your mind goes in directions that you can't stop. When negative or fearful thoughts enter your mind, you can't block or remove them easily. They just keep coming and you become the victim of your thoughts rather than the initiator of them.
Well, Satan loves this. He can drop his disturbing thoughts of hopelessness, fear, and temptation into your mind, and they will get mixed into your own negative, anxious thoughts that were coming from the illness, and you won't know the difference. You'll just accept all the thoughts as true, and your mood will drop even lower.
Here's another way to look at it. Imagine your mind is like a house with lots of doors and windows. As the owner, you can control what comes in or out by controlling when you open and close the doors and windows. However, when your serotonin levels are normal, you have full thought control, and you can choose which thoughts to keep and which to throw out.
When your levels are low and you have a mood disorder, the doors and windows are wide open and you can't control what's blowing through and landing in your kitchen. That's why Satan loves this condition so much. He can easily blow his thoughts into your mind and you won't recognize them or reject them. They just get included with all the other garbage passing through.
With treatment, though, the serotonin level can be restored. Then you can close the doors and windows and regain control of your thoughts. You can also think clearly enough to use your spiritual authority.
This is why Satan is so opposed to Christians getting treated, because when they recover, they will shut him out. So to prevent Christians getting medical help, he has infiltrated the church with a lie that says that mental health medications are unspiritual and wrong for Christians. You see, the easiest way to get a Christian to do something dumb is to give them a religious reason to do it.
When the enemy is looking for disturbing thoughts to throw at you, he wants ones that you are most likely going to believe and act on. And so the best place or the best source is your own emotional baggage. There he can dig up and shoot at you bad memories and lies that you will pay attention to and get upset about.
Of course, when you've dealt with your baggage, he loses that source of ammunition. That's why the most effective way to block his attack on your mind is to correct any serotonin problem and get rid of your baggage through counseling and prayer ministry.
You can see the demonic realm is active in mental illness. Their primary role, in our opinion, is to worsen the symptoms of depression, anxiety, and mood swings by inserting more thoughts into your already busy mind. They love to take advantage of any weakness we have, and this is the most common form of demonic attack in our experience.
When the underlying chemical imbalance is treated, the access points close and the demonic activity is greatly reduced. Then you can use your spiritual authority to block their voices.
Prayer ministry, of course, is very helpful to lessen the spiritual attacks. The combination of medications and prayer ministry is the most effective treatment for demonic harassment in our experience. There are a few exceptions, however. We have met a few people where their mood disorder was completely caused by demonic attack, and we learned that by experience.
Years ago, I was at a church service in Toronto, and one of my patients with bipolar disorder spotted me in the crowd. She had improved quite a bit with medications, but she was still struggling. At the end of the service, she came up and asked me to pray for her because she'd been having a rough week. I agreed and prayed for her, and when she returned in a month for her regular visit to my office, she said that when I was praying, she felt it lift off her, and her mind has been clear ever since. So in her case, her bipolar disorder was actually caused by a spirit of sickness, but this is the exception, not the rule.
We found that deliverance prayer and inner healing prayer ministry works hand in hand with medications. When a person is on the right medicine, they can participate more easily and get lasting results from prayer ministry.
I also found that sometimes after the demonic attack has been reduced or eliminated through prayer, my patient didn't need as much medication to control their thoughts. So I recommend both treatments, of course.
We will be covering spiritual warfare and spiritual authority in a later course in the Free Your Mind program.
We hope that lesson helped you understand how the enemy wants to invade your thoughts.
If you'd like to learn more about mental, emotional, and spiritual health, why don't you join us in the Free Your Mind program? It's our step-by-step online video guide to taking back control of your internal world. Just click the link below this video to subscribe.
We'll talk to you again next week, but this week, pay attention to what you're thinking.